Coach Jones on the call.
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Your team went down to Alcorn and got a hard-fought victory over the week. If you could talk a little bit about that game, and then you've got Jackson State coming to town, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. As you said, we played Alcorn this past week. Very competitive game. I knew they would come out and give us a great effort and trying to win the football game, and that's exactly what they did. They made a few mistakes. They took the opening drive and scored on us, and they made a few mistakes offensively that we were able to capitalize. They fumbled, got a good tackle, and created a fumble. That ended up being a touchdown. Then the next series came out and threw a little stop or hitch route, and we were able to jump on it and again take it to the house for a touchdown. That gave us 14 points. And then they scored again, made it 14 all, kind of went back and forth and winning at halftime as such. We dropped a couple of touchdown passes, some opportunities that we had that we kind of created for ourselves, and we didn't take advantage of. And so we kind of struggled, went back and forth as far as that was concerned. And then in the fourth quarter, our guys kind of came to life and put together two really good drives and was able to separate ourselves from them from that point. But it was the kind of game that I was expecting. I expected them to come out and play hard. Coach Spears had them ready. I knew they were going to play us hard. Knew they were going to be physical. And they would be focused. And, we dropped a lot of passes. I was a little concerned about our mindset going into this ball game, and I expressed that with them, and they kind of played like that. We just blew a lot of opportunities. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Alcorn, but when you drop 9 passes in a ball game, you're assistant in what happens to you. But we were able to focus in on the fourth quarter and make enough plays to get out of there with a win. And now we're trying to get ready for Jackson State, which we all know is one heck of a football team. Coach Comagese has done a tremendous job over there, getting these guys ready and always being a contender. This year is no exception. They're very talented on the offensive side. They have the ability to run and throw the football, very dangerous there. Their defense is big and physical, and fly around and get after folks. Defensive ends, kind of like monsters out there, man. They make a lot of plays for them, and they've got a good football team all the way across the board. I've seen them win games on special teams, offense and defense. So we have to be ready for them. They suffered a tough loss this past weekend, but they'll be ready to go against us, and so we have to be ready to play against a good football team.
We'll open it up for questions for Alabama A&M head coach Anthony Jones.
Hey, Anthony, it's Ross with the Clarion Ledger in Jackson. How you doing?
I'm fine. Who am I speaking to?
Ross with the Clarion.
Okay, Ross. Okay.
You guys won 7 straight after this first 2 losses. What's been some of the biggest differences? I mean, what do you attribute to this winning streak?
Well, I mean, we're starting to grow up a little bit. As I mentioned to people early on, we're a very young football team. We have 9 seniors on our football team, 5 of them that play. We were very young. We had to learn how to play football at the collegiate level. We had a lot of new faces, talented, but they were new, and we had to put all this stuff together. We had a chance to win against Hampton, and we got a kick block in the final seconds that would have won the game for us, kind of a chip shot, but we made a mistake on that, and the kick got blocked. And then I think it had some residual effect the following week. Southern came out and played us hard, and we weren't ready to play, and we weren't ready to overcome that. Our guys didn't expect that kind of effort from Southern, and we weren't prepared to match it or exceed it, and so we got beat, and now we're sitting at 0-2. And had to make some decisions as a football team where we wanted to go. Went back to the fundamentals of football, and then we started building on that each and every week, and we've been very blessed. The Lord has smiled on us, put us in some situations, gave us some opportunities, and our kids been able to take advantage of it. And, of course, playing as a team.
Anthony, I know that you're kind of in a similar situation as Rick Comedy over here with the contract stuff. Have you had any talks with administrators? Do you expect a new contract for yourself?
I don't really know what kind of situation Coach Comedy is in, and I don't want to comment on that. This is my concern, and I'm pretty sure Coach Comedy is very similar as that. What we're focusing in on, and what I'm focusing on, is this 2011 season. Right now, I'm focusing in on Jackson State, trying to get ready for that. I'm not going to sit here and talk about contracts now. That's not a concern of mine right now. I said this from the early beginning. If my Lord wanted me to be here, He's going to make a way for me to be here. If He wants me to be elsewhere, He'll arrange that too. So I'm not concerned with that right now. All I'm concerned right now is things that I know I have control over, and that's trying to get my football team ready to play the next game.
Yeah, Coach Jones, this is Roscoe. How you doing?
I'm fine, Roscoe. How are you?
Good. Kadarius Lacey, he's had rushed for more than 150 yards each of the last two games.
Right.
What is different about him as a runner this year as opposed to last year?
I'm starting to understand who he is. You know, you can't make yourself better if you don't understand who you are. You got to understand who you are, what your strengths are, and what your weaknesses are. And he's starting to realize and understand that. And one of the toughest things we do as people is try to sit back and try to evaluate ourselves. Because sometimes, we don't like what we see and we want to be something different. God has given us all gifts, and, we got to make sure we understand what our gifts are. And I think once we're able to do that, we can make ourselves better. And he's starting to understand that. He's making himself a better football player.
Well, what type of back did he see himself as before as opposed to now? You look at a lot of kids, they look at NFL stuff, and, you want to emulate those guys who are doing all those great things, and, a variety of backs out there. And that's not what you are. Take the gifts that you've been given and make them work for you. And I think he's starting to really realize that. And it's showing. So, I'm not going to get into too many specifics, but I don't want to do everybody's homework for him, but he's just starting to realize what kind of back he is, and he's doing that. So is this what you had anticipated from him?
Absolutely. We've been blessed to have been able to recruit a variety of running backs here who had success. And as I told all these guys, there's something a little different about each and every one of you. Now, use that to your advantage. And, Ulysses was here, he did it. Jeremiah Bonds was here, he did it. Green, he did it. They used their talents to make themselves a better football player. And now Kadarius is seeing that, and he's understanding that, and he's using his talents to make himself a better football player.
And how much has that played into the success of this run that you guys are having now?
All of it is played into it. It's not just Kadarius, it's not just Deontay, it's not just our defense, it's the whole team. Our whole team is starting to understand a little more about themselves. Again, playing college football is one thing. Learning how to play it is a whole other thing. And that's what these guys had to do. And as a young football team, we all had to figure out what our talents were, bring them all to the table, and then put them out there and kind of let all our talents contribute, to the success we're having now. I can't overshadow yours. You can't overshadow mine. We all have to play a role in this thing, and that's kind of what's happening.
Okay, Coach, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Any final questions for Coach Jones? Coach, we appreciate the time this morning. Good luck this weekend. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Thank you.
That brings us to Alabama State head coach Reggie Barlow. Is Coach Barlow on the call?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
Big win for your Hornets up at Pine Bluff this weekend. If you could kind of recap it, and then Southern coming to town, what you see from the Jaguars, and we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, this past weekend was a game up at Pine Bluff, and it was their homecoming and really nice atmosphere. I really liked the stadium and the atmosphere they had over there, and it's just another opportunity to get back on the field after our last big ball game, and we pressed upon our guys to be in the moment. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Go out and play. And for the most part, they did that. We had Devin Dominguez, who stepped up again, and managed the game for us and did some good things. Tim Clark ran the ball well for us, was really consistent. Our defense played pretty good. First half, but we were able to limit them and keep them from scoring. But there's just a couple uncharacteristic things, personal fouls, and not getting off on third and really long that we were disappointed about. But all in all, it was a good win. Whenever you can go on the road and win a game in this conference, it's a pleasure. So we'll take it. This week we got Southern, and I've always had a lot of respect for a Southern program and everything that they've stand for. They're one of the big three of our conference, and Coach Mitchell, he's doing a good job over there, and I've been where he is and trying to implement the mindset, and heck, you gotta change it. But they got a lot of good players over there that's playing with confidence, and in every game you look at that they played, they've been right in it, up to the end there. So it's another challenging game, and I'm sure Coach Mitchell he'll have his guys ready to play. Southern has always traveled well. I really respect and like that about their program, and it's a 1:00 game, so should be exciting. Looking forward to it.
We'll open it up for questions for Head Coach Barlow from Alabama State.
Perrin Keys from over in the Advocate here in Baton Rouge. How are you?
Hey.
Look, you just touched on it, Coach. I was just curious, and obviously you're not in the business of helping stump out, especially on a week like this. But can you just kind of expand on some of the things that some of the issues that you all had to overcome when you took over, and what was kind of the keys to climbing that mountain and getting close to the top?
Oh, wow. I don't know a whole bunch that's going on over there. I just know, when you're new and you're trying to change the mindset, and most people think it just deals with the coaches and the players, but the mindset has to be changed from everybody. The people that clean the building, the strength and conditioning coach, the compliance people, everybody got to be thinking like you think, and have to be on your team. And I can't speak on what's going on over there, but I know that was part of what we had to get fixed over here. It was just trying to get everybody on the same page and just making sure everybody was buying into what you're trying to get done, and that takes time. We all want it to happen right now, but it takes some time, and I'm sure. Coach has been around a long time and been a head coach and coached in the NFL and played and all that stuff. So you don't get all those opportunities because you're a good fellow. You have to know the game. So I'm sure he'll get it going in the right direction.
Was there
I'm sorry, sir. Your phone breaking up?
Is this any better?
Yeah. Well, no, it ain't.
Your pardon?
I can't hear you.
Are there any kind of issues that a different approach that you had to take with recruiting with respect to the things that you were going through early on with the program?
Well, our deal was a little different. We were on probation, so a lot of our issues came from, we had scholarships taken away. We couldn't compete for the SWAC championship, and that's kind of deflating in its own right. So, but it took some time to get the type of guys that think like you. And when you sign a kid, 18-year-old, a lot of times when they know you're the guy that brought him in, they're going to play a little harder for you, as opposed to, a guy who was already in the program, may have had alliances with the previous coach or whatever. But so it takes time. I wish it was some magical pill that you could just make happen. But if you look all around the country, I mean, it takes some time to instill what you're trying to get done, and I'm sure he'll do it. There's a lot of great athletes there in the Louisiana area, and he has some on his team now, and I imagine he'll continue to get them there as he continue to coach there at Southern.
Yeah, Coach Barlow, this is Roscoe Nance. How you doing?
I'm good. How you?
Good. I want to backtrack a little to the game last week. I'm doing a story on Kadarius Lacey from A&M.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had a big game against you guys. What makes him such a difficult back to deal with?
Well, that dude, he's big now. He's put together pretty good now. I imagine he's probably a legit 5'11", and he's about 220 something. So the first guy that hit him now, he delivers the blow. I did notice that a lot of the runs that he had, he was finishing them. It wasn't one of those type deals where he's gotten the yards that he wanted and he's going down. He was finishing runs, going forward, and he's a downhill guy, and he's strong and thick, and he's a fun guy to watch. And I mean, he had our guys in a cold tub all the way up till game day this week here because they were sore from him.
Okay, Coach. Thanks. Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. I think this is when they say, are there any other questions for Coach Barlow? If not.
We've got a lot of background noise today. Sorry about that, Coach.
All right.
Are there any other questions for Coach Barlow?
There it is.
All right, Coach. We appreciate the time this morning. Good luck this weekend. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Thank you.
That brings us to Melvin Spears, Alcorn State head coach. Is Coach Spears on the call?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. Good recap your A&M game. Talk a little bit about that, and then what you got coming up this week with with Prairie View coming to town, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, we had another stellar performance in the Southwestern Athletic Conference against probably right now the number one team in the country. Coach Jones did an excellent job getting his group prepared coming in, but on the other hand, I thought our defense played lights out. We challenged them this week to try to hold Lacey under 100 yards. We did a really good job with him. They got a couple freebies early, got a pick six that they did a good job, and we fumbled one that they ran back in, but then we got an opportunity to get it back 14-14, and both of the offenses were the inconsistency. We were playing great defense on both sides of on both teams, and then at the end they just made a few more plays than we made. But overall, our guys came in and they fought hard. They did the little things, and we was just a little more inconsistent on offense. Offensive line didn't pick up like we thought they should based on certain sets. But overall, good ball game. We got another tough game coming in at Heisman Northern, who we know we've had an opportunity to be on the same staff with us, seen a lot of him. Coach Roach, who's our defensive coordinator, coached him in high school. And, Prairie View always played at up-tempo, really, really tough kind of game. And we got our work cut out with an outstanding defensive end. And, they got some guys that have been around. So it's going to be another tough game for us.
We'll open it up for questions for head coach Melvin Spears from Alcorn State.
Yeah, Melvin, this is Roscoe Nance. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing a story on Kadarius Lacey. You said you challenged your guys to hold him under 100 yards, and you felt like you did a pretty good job on him. He still had 159 yards, I believe. Kind of talk about him as a back.
Well, I think he's a real tough guy. Like, just to reiterate what Coach Barlow said, he's a much bigger guy than you think. Coach Barlow did him some justice by saying he was 220. He's more like 245-pound, tough runner, runs the ball really well. We had him balled up for a long time. He got a couple runs late in the fourth quarter, but other than that, we did a great job on him, and he's a back that if you hit him once, you better have a whole bunch of guys around him. We put a lot of hats on him, but overall, he's just an outstanding running back who's really tough. And the thing that impresses you the most about him, he's a real finisher. He finishes off every run. You very seldom see a guy hit him and knock him back, or things of that nature. Everything he does is going forward.
Is there anybody he reminds you of?
That's a number of backs he reminds me of. You know, back in the day, they had an Anderson guy that used to play up at Chicago that was really, really tough, that ran that way. And you have Parham and a couple others in our league that did an outstanding. We had a kid over at Grambling once upon a time named Gant, who was a big kid, but the only difference is he's a tougher guy than Gant, but has the same body type.
Okay, thanks.
Coach, you talked about going toe-to-toe with, one of the hottest teams in the country right now, except for those big plays on defense where they got a couple touchdowns. But did your team kind of turn a corner a little bit this week?
Well, I think our team has really been playing very well from week in and week out. We only had one, I would call it an unstellar performance down at Southern University, but for the most part, we've been right there. We just got to consistently play better on third down with respect to the offensive side of it. And on the flip side of it, even though we held them to 14 points in the second half, gave up a couple, I think we were right on schedule to where we want to be. We just got to, football games are won by football players making football plays, and our guys just got to continue to understand in crucial situations we have to make those plays. And right now that we're not, but the whole thing about it is that it's all about hard work. Keep working on the little things that are gonna make you very, very successful, and those are the things. But I think our team still made another step, because at the end of the day, they were still playing like the game just had started. So all we can do is keep giving the great effort, and as long as they keep giving great effort, we're gonna let the chips fall where they may at the end of the day, and we'll get there where we make the plays when we have to make them. And on the backside of it is that, hey, we just got to keep playing hard. And we look forward to playing hard this weekend when Coach Heisman Northern bring his group in here as well.
Talk a little bit about, Corey Hart had a big game against you, 10 tackles and 3 sacks, and now you're going against a guy in Adrian Hamilton who's leading the nation in sacks and tackles for loss. Maybe there's a little bit of difference, or, how do you prepare for another big, strong defensive end like that?
Well, I don't think it's that big of a difference. The thing is that there's a difference in the style of defense. Prairie View's more of a straight 40 team. Our guys got a little confused with all the moving around that Broski Towns had employed, which did a very good job. Not to say that Corey didn't do a good job against us. A bunch of times, 3 or 4 times, he just came scot-free, where we didn't slide to him or do something of that nature. But the guy down at Prairie View is really doing a good job. I think he's the sack lead in our conference. We got another test. Our tackles got to play much better than they played the weekend, and we got to look to be a little stronger up the gut there. So we got our work cut out for us, and we look forward to the challenge.
Offensively, your guy, Walker again, kind of establishing himself as a premier back for you.
Yes, he has. Just unopportune times he may put it on the ground. But other than that, I think he's doing an excellent job running the ball, doing the little things that we're asking for him to do. Again, it still boils down to third down type situations where we have to be a little bit more consistent. He has to hold on to the ball a little bit more. Anytime you run the ball, it's just part of the game. They will put it on the ground, but we just can't put it on the ground at inopportune times, which puts us at a deficit. And, we fumbled it once and they went up 7-0. 7-7, then they came right back and we threw a pick 6. But overall, I think he's doing a good job. He's going to continue to work. He's a real worker, and he's a tough guy. So he'll get over that hump, and he is one of the best backs in this league.
And talk a little bit about the progress of your defense. Obviously, the difference in this week's game were 2 defensive touchdowns for A&M, but you've got to be pleased with how your defense is coming along. No real standouts on it. You kind of got across the board with everybody, kind of chipping in.
Well, I always use that term, playing lights out, and I think they've been doing that. We have out of the 11 starters, 10 of them are the first-year guys. We got a a number of 17-year-old guys that are playing on the defensive line, and I'm really elated about how these guys are playing. And we got a guy that's playing in the middle, Gainwell, who's really taking them all up on his arm, who was a guy that was a special team guy last year, didn't play linebacker at all, and all of a sudden he's come of age, him and William Thomas. So I'm really pleased about where we are defensively. We got to keep playing, and one of the things about a game of that nature, even though we gave up 2 defensive touchdowns, we got it back even, and it was a long time where it was just a defensive battle. They couldn't move the ball, we couldn't move the ball, and then lo and behold, they got an opportunity to make a play, and they went up. And when you got young folks, it's just a matter of being able to play consistent football for 60 straight minutes. You can't have any dropouts, and when you have those lapses, that's when the other team make those take advantage of what you're doing. But we're excited about the big guys up front. We got a kid by the name of Damian Wilson, who's really an outstanding player to go along with 2 Samoan kids that we brought in, Moose and Carrington, who's really doing a good job to go along with some young guys. Casey Freeman, who's a true freshman playing back there in the secondary playing free safety, who's really the catalyst back there making all the calls. You can't say enough about him. And the bottom line is that we just got to keep working, keep doing the little things that we're doing, and keep getting better week in and week out. And if you continue to build pride, you can build character. You don't have to worry about the chips. You'll get the wins. They're going to come.
And one of the areas we don't talk about a lot, but you've got one of the best in the conference, is your punter Arturo Tamayo. He's been pretty consistent with you all year on the special teams.
Very consistent, outstanding punter. Helps us tremendously when we start trying to control field position. Has done a good job. Anytime we can get it down within that 45 range, it's almost like it's instant. So we do have one of the best guys. We stress, and Coach Lewis Green is doing an excellent job with our special team. That's really what it boils down. Anytime you got to consistently win football games, you got to be able to play the 3 parts, play defense, offense, and then play great special teams. But if you don't win 2 of the 3, then you have a tendency to going to have a letdown somewhere, and that's really where we've been so far.
Any final questions for Coach Melvin Spears from Alcorn State? Coach, we appreciate the time this morning, and good luck on Saturday, and we will talk to you next Monday.
Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. That brings us to Arkansas Pine Bluff head coach Monty Coleman. Is Coach Coleman on the call?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
A tough loss for your guys against Alabama State over the weekend. If you could just kind of summarize that. And then this week you head over to Valley to play the Delta Devils. If you could talk a little bit about what you see from them, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, like you said, another tough loss this past weekend. It's these last 2 weeks has been very challenging for us as a coaching staff and also as a team. When you've got 12 players suspended, it's hard to not to motivate the kids. I thought our kids played extremely hard this past week, the ones that we had to play. But when you have 12 of your key players, or 12 players out, and the majority of those are starters on either phase, either offense, defense, or special teams, you go in shorthanded, and it was typical. It was very obvious this week that we were shorthanded. And then when you lose some players because of injuries during the game, it just escalates as far as the number of players that you have out. And that's been our cry the last 2 weeks. Alabama State's a very good football team, and we knew that coming in. And I just wish I would have had all of my weapons to play them. But it is what it is, and we'll go into this game against Valley this weekend with 6 other players. 4 of those will be starters that we won't have against Valley. Watching Valley, I think they're the most improved team in the conference right now, and they're a scary football team to play at this particular time. They're playing with a lot of heart, playing with a lot of emotion, and we'll go down this weekend to Inabina and try to handle our business to get back on the winning track.
We'll open it up for questions for head coach Monty Coleman from UAPB. Coach, maybe untypically, your defense gave up a couple big plays for touchdowns. Talk a little bit about that. Again, kind of untypical for your defense.
Well, I had a couple of players, our key players. My starting defensive man was out, Damian Lee. He's been very consistent for us this entire season. And with him being out, we had to play some guys who we normally play just to rest them up. But he's a big part of our defense. The other guy was Ryan Shaw, who's our starting free safety. We played our second team guy there, and we missed Ryan Shaw in both of the plays, the run and the pass. Possibly if Damian leaves in, we may prevent it, or if Ryan Shawing, maybe we prevent it. But they came in with a good game plan, and they played hard. And I thought my guys played hard. But like I said, we were limited as far as the number of players that we did have available.
Coach, I see Morrell, Pine Bluff Commercial. You talked about the fact that you're going to have 6 guys out Saturday against Valley. But, some of the guys who've been out for a while, they'll be back, who are starters like Jones and whatnot. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on how much that will help you? Because, at this point, with Valley being a really improved football team, that might not be a cakewalk for you guys.
Well, I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk. I see it's going to be a battle. We're playing on their home turf. We've got guys who missed 2 games, like Stephen Jones. We were in the red area these last 2 weeks approximately 9 times, and we come out with nothing and short yardage, 3rd and 1 and 4th and 2 and stuff like that, and come out with nothing. And to get Stephen Jones back, my whole right side of my offensive line was out last week. I'll have all of those guys back this week. So we're excited to get the majority of our team back this week, especially the offensive side of the ball, with Stephen Jones and Colton Jones and LaRon McKinley and people like that, Beverly, who was our leading receiver. To get folks like that back this week is I think going to help us out. It should give us a big boost in practice also.
Right. And what improvements exactly have you seen from Valley going into this Saturday's game?
Well, they've just been playing well. They played Grambling well. They played a lot of good teams and played extremely well. So I don't think their record really indicate the type of football team that they are. And the thing that we can't do is get complacent or have a pity party with ourselves with what has happened to us the last couple of weeks. We still got a chance. It's a very slim chance, but we still have a chance. 5 and 4 may do it on the West this year. And the thing that we've got to do is we've got to win these other 2 football games to even keep that hope alive.
Right. And let me jump to that just for a moment. I mean, I probably asked you this before, but how often, do you talk with the players about this Western race? And, talking about a big boost in practice, giving the guys back, is there also a sense of urgency that, is the sense of urgency at its highest now, with you guys being a game behind but only 2 games left, and knowing that you're going to have to get a little bit of help in addition this time around?
Well, absolutely. We mention it. We don't talk about it on a daily basis, but it's something that's very obvious to us. The kids, they keep up with it better than the coaches do. They know what's happening and what needs to be done, sometimes more than we do. So we do let them know the importance of every game. The thing that we do, though, I see, is we take it 1 game at a time, and that's how we're still doing it with just 2 games left.
Mm-hmm.
We're not looking past Valley to Texas Southern. We've got to handle our business this weekend, and then the next game will take care of itself. So there's a lot of football left with the 2 games, and the West is not completely closed. So the thing that we've got to do is just go out this week and play very, very well and win this football game against Valley.
Mm-hmm. And, how much do you think the running game has kind of suffered without Jones? We know what Amo can do. We know what Jenkins can do. But, they've been kind of limited, I think, the last couple of games. Just can you elaborate a little more on how much it suffered without Steven?
Yeah, he's a very, very big part of our offense, not just running the football, but when it comes to short yardage. We were in the red zone against State this past weekend 5 times, and we only, scored twice. Our short yards, 3rd down conversions, 8 for 18. So, And then on fourth down, we went for it. We were 1 for 3, and that's when Jones is at his best. When we absolutely need those fourth down plays or those third downs and shorts to keep the chains moving. That's when he's at his best. So he's been missed a whole lot in this last two week suspension.
Okay.
Coach, with the, kind of the change in, just some of the adjustments you had to make, I noticed you threw it 48 times this week. Was that just more kind of the how the game played out, or was that an actual game plan going in?
Well, we actually had, and bless his heart, the young man played extremely hard, and that's the reason why we played him this week. Robert Moyer, he was our right guard this week. We converted the tight end over to play the right tackle. State has a very aggressive defense, and we had to throw the football a little more this past week just because of those reasons. We had kind of if I can use the word and not in a derogatory way, kind of a patched together offensive line, and it made us throw the ball instead of trying to run the football.
And the health of Jerian, is he back? How much did he actually get to play? I know he had some stats, but how much, what percentage is he going at?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that name.
With Jerian Harris.
Oh yeah, he's been back for several games now, and he's getting back into playing shape, and he's a big contributor on our defense right now. We have 3 extremely good linebackers that's playing for us, and he's one of them. We did take him in and take him out a little this past game, but overall, he's back for these last 2 games.
Coach, Reggie Benson with the Huntsville Times. Good morning.
Good morning, Reggie.
I'm late on the call. I apologize. This may have been asked already. I'm curious, what's the mindset of your football team right now? You guys have gone through quite a bit. I know it's been a few weeks since you played here at A&M and kind of let one get away. What's the mindset of this football team? You're still in the mix, but I'm curious where you are mentally with this football team.
Oh, we're right where we need to be, Reggie. We hadn't thrown in the towel. We've lost 2 very bitter games this last 2 weeks. But as far as the mindset, the team is going to come out. They worked extremely hard last week, and that's what I expect them to do this week. The one thing I can say about this team this year is that I don't have any quitters. These guys know how to practice. They come to practice. They know how to play. We've played well in games. We've lost games. Not taking anything away from our opponents, but we've lost some games. We've shot ourselves in the foot either with penalties or big plays, and we've lost games. And of course, we know the situation with the last 2 ball games with the suspension and stuff like that. But as far as the mindset, we're trying to salvage this year. We're still in the race. Something crazy could happen. I had a guy tell me very early in the season that 5 and 4 could very easily take the West to the championship game, and if we win these 2, then it may be the flip of a coin that gets us in. We've got the head-to-head against Prairie View, and of course Grambling got it against us. So crazy things have happened, Reggie. So we're still playing football. We're trying to finish with the 6 and 5 and see where it works out for us as far as in the SWAC.
Any final questions for Coach Coleman from UAPB? Coach, we appreciate the time as always. Good luck on Saturday, and we will talk to you next Monday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That brings us to Grambling State head coach Doug Williams. Is Coach Williams on the call?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
Big win for your Tigers in Jackson over the weekend. If you could just talk about that game, and then you've got Texas Southern coming to town on Saturday. Talk what you see about that set of Tigers, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, certainly Saturday was a real big game for us coming out of Pine Bluff with a win, and 2 big road wins for us. Certainly speaks character for this football team, how they've grown up over a short period of time. And to go into Jackson, play a team that probably nobody even gave us. I know it did from reading some of the articles. Gave us a shot. You know, it's a good feeling because at the end of the day, you still got to play the game, and that's what you got to have the guys believing, and that's what they believe that is on the field. You know, I always tell them that. You know, when you go to a home team's stadium, let them have the stadium and we want the field. And that's basically how they've looked at this thing. And this week, Texas Southern coming off a big win against Southern University. They certainly have played the way I'm sure they wanted to play during the season. So they come in to Grambling with some revenge, per se, to try to make this season complete. And we certainly want to keep what we got going forward.
We'll open it up for questions for head coach Doug Williams from Grambling State.
Hey, Doug, Reggie Benson with the Times. Good morning.
Hey, Reggie, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Look, it's been a while since I saw you last, but give me an idea of what's transpired with your football team, if there's maybe one or two, three keys that's kind of gotten this team to going the way it's going right now.
Well, you know, it's kind of like, you know, just listening to Monty, you know, talking about, you know, shooting yourself in the foot. I think every team that's played in this conference and lost some tough game would probably say we, you know, when I say we, ourselves, shot ourselves in the foot. But, you know, football is a game of two teams, and you got to say the other team forced a lot of those things. And I certainly could look at the Alabama State game where with 9:55 left in the game, it was a tie game, and things went haywire for us. In the Alabama A&M game, we had 8 turnovers and lost by 6. So, but you can't cry with spilled milk. And the most important thing now is the fact that these kids are believing in what we're doing. You know, we took a brand new team basically and put a whole new mindset, especially from the offense side of football, and they had to change what they've been doing. I think they just buying into the system and believing in themselves, and I think that's why we're where we are today.
Coach, I see Morrell from the Pine Bluff Commercial. You guys are now in front along with Prairie View, you know, a game ahead of Arkansas, Pine Bluff. You know, how you guys, you know, handling being out in front, or at least, you know, having to share the lead at this point with about 2 games left?
Well, I'm trying to keep my players focused like everybody else has had us focused the last 3 weeks out of it, you know, because when we came to Pine Bluff, you know, the first thing I read was that this was the easy pass playing. You know, we hadn't even played the game, but the article read clearly that was the clearest pass for Pine Bluff to get to the championship game to 2006. And the way we looked at it was the fact that we wasn't a factor in them getting to the championship game, so we just went out to play football, and things worked in our favor. So we can't get off on the fact that we in the thick of it at this point, because 4 weeks ago we were left for dead, and somehow we found a respirator.
Coach, your team showing a lot of resiliency coming back, you know, against a Jackson team in the fourth quarter. And talk about, you know, well, Roberts obviously was a big part of that. With 200 yards rushing, but talk about just kind of the growth of your team and being able to kind of close out a game.
Well, you know, you say last week, but the first 2 weeks. I mean, when you think about it, in Pine Bluff, we was down 14-0 in the first quarter before we knew what had happened, and that team showed character and came back. And I think what happened last week, they was believing the same thing. They believed the same thing that happened in Pine Bluff was able to happen Saturday, and it did. They went out and played. We had some big plays just before halftime. Mario had the 73-yarder with about 12 seconds left in the half, and Darns, you know, made a big run. I mean, these guys had just made plays when we had to make them over the last 4 weeks. You know, the plays that we didn't make the first 4 weeks, we weren't able to make them in the past.
Yeah, Doug, it's Ross, McClure and Ledger. Jack, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good. Just the last 14 seconds of the game Saturday, kind of crazy. Just what was going through your head on the sideline? You know, when JSU made the first down and the clock stopped at 14 seconds. What did you expect to happen, and were you surprised to see what happened?
Well, you know, from a coaching standpoint, I really thought that they would have stopped the clock, threw the ball down, and spiked it and stopped the clock. But whatever they decided to do, I'm certainly glad they did it. We did know that his last throw was going to be a corner route because we had gotten beat early in the ball game on that same route. And defensively, we was ready for the corner route.
Hey, Doug, it's Ty Miller from Sheridan Broadcasting. Good morning.
Hey, Ty, how you doing?
Pretty good. Just one question about a comment you made earlier. And how does it translate to your players being that they're so young? And where did you get it from when you say, we'll let them win the stadium, we won't win the field?
Well, what I want them to know, everybody respects everybody's home field. And everybody wants to play home. That's the thing about it. But I try to get my players to understand whatever they do in the stands, we have no control over it. What we do between the 53 and the 120 yards. And that's the football field. And that's the most important thing. No matter who's in the stand, no matter what the color the other team shirts, white out, black out, gold out, whatever out it is, the key is going to be what happened on the football field.
All right, thanks, man.
All right.
Coach, have you talked to your team about, getting back in the thick of the race now? Obviously, you still need a little bit of help, but how much do you kind of expose your team to the scenarios and stuff as we close out the season?
Well, it's what I've been telling them from day one is we all we got. And this is about self-help. If we do what we're supposed to do, we can't depend on nobody else to help us because, if there's anything, they're going to knock us down. So we let them do what they got to do. If things don't work out at the end, so be it. But we got to do what we got to do. If we continue to play the way we're capable of playing and we win football games, the bottom line is let the chips fall where they may.
Hey, Doug, Reggie Benson again with the Times. The emergence of Roberts and Rivers, obviously they've been a big key to what you guys have done over the last 4 weeks, I guess, right?
Well, Rivers has played decently, but I think the key has been Mario Lewis and Don Roberts in the offensive line. And the defense over the last 2 weeks has really stepped it up. I think that's the key because, I don't think Rivers played as well as I would have liked for him to play this past week. We missed a couple things. We had a great drive going, and an interception in the end zone could have been big against us. Fortunately, we was able to overcome it. I think the offensive line, Roberts, and the defense has done a super job in the last couple of weeks.
Any final questions for head coach Doug Williams from Grambling State? Coach, we appreciate the time as always this morning. Good luck on Saturday, and we will talk to you next Monday.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That brings us to Jackson State head coach Rick Comegee. Is Coach Comegee on the call?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good.
A tough loss for your guys at home against Grambling. If you could just kind of summarize that, and then you head to Huntsville to play A&M this weekend. If you could talk about the Bulldogs a little bit, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, it was a tough loss. We played hard enough to win and played well enough to win. It came down to the final seconds, and we just didn't do the right thing we needed to do in order to capitalize and win the game. And I take my hat off to them. They got the win, and not much more to be said. And as far as A&M's concerned, they're a solid football team. He's going to come at you, run the ball hard at you, and they're going to be solid. They're going to be hard, play hard, tough, and, like they always are. They're a good team, and they've been winning on a winning streak right now. And I'm sure they're, anxious to get back into the championship race.
We'll open it up for questions for head coach Rick Comegee from Jackson State.
Coach Comegee, Luke Williams from the Black College Sports Page. How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Williams?
Why not a field goal at the end?
Well, we were going to go for the field goal. We were saving that last time out for a field goal. We'll take down and spike the ball. We didn't get a chance. I don't know what happened on the side. Well, things just got a little confused over there, and we didn't get the spike. And like everybody in the country, you go for the spike, take one in there, and save time out for a field goal. That was our intentions, but it just didn't happen that day.
Are you saying that you didn't? So the last play of the game, was that an attempt at a pass, or was it a spike?
Well, that was a pass. I mean, communication got a little mixed up there, but it just got mixed up inside, and we just didn't get it out to what we had planned on doing. And so, we just it didn't work for us. Our plan did not work.
And Coach, what's the mentality of your team, knowing that you can't play in the championship game, but having a chance, I guess, to a degree, to be a spoiler, so to speak, from here in? Is that the attitude that your guys are taking?
The attitude's not about being a spoiler. The attitude's about playing football. I mean, we enjoy playing football, and we enjoy winning football games, and anytime you lose a game, it's going to hurt. We enjoy winning games here at Jackson State. You don't see a lot of losses down this way. You know what I mean? And we got that one. We got to take it and move on. Spoilers is for the news press. Right now, we just want to play football and try to win out and have the best season we possibly can.
Yeah, Coach Cummings, this is Roscoe Nance. How you doing?
Hey, Roscoe, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. Kadarius Lacey, you guys have to deal with him again this year. He had a big game against you last year, I think 150 yards.
He's a good ball player, definitely.
What do you have to do to contain him?
Well, we just got to get in there and set up what we feel that can contain him. Set up a defense that will hold him in tight and handle their play action. He's definitely a good back, and we can't just let him run wild like that, or we're going to come up short again. And so, we just got to do our homework here, and hopefully it'll be good enough to win.
Well, did you see some things that you did last year against him that you feel like you need to do a little bit differently this time?
Well, basically, we're just going to work right now. Everybody's kind of, getting to the grind, and I think after, maybe by midday or early afternoon, we'll kind of figure out, how we want to go into this game and play it. But he's definitely a good back, no doubt about it.
Okay, thanks.
Reggie Benson with the Huntsville Times. Good morning.
Hey, Reggie, how are you?
I'm good. Look, give me an idea. When you watch this A&M team, I mean, started 0-2, they won 7 in a row. What do you see? Is this a similar Anthony Jones coach team?
Yes, it is. It's solid, strong. Getting better each week. Come out there highly motivated, ready to play. They very similar. To the team we faced last week.
This team, you were mentioned earlier about the mentality of the football team, not being able to win the SWAC championship, possibly having a chance to win the national championship. What will you talk to your team about as you get ready for A&M now?
Well, we want to have the best season possible. We were 8-3 last year. It'd be nice to be 9-2, and that's not bad in anybody's books. And I think we still have one of the best records in the the SWAC. I think everybody's working around with 3 losses, and we got 2. So I think the kids are playing real well, doing a great job for all they've been under and all they've been through in a year. I'm really proud of this football team. They've been through an awful lot, and with the amount of practice time they get, during the week, and still trying to put together a good football team. These guys have done an ample job, and I'm really proud of them. In that game last week, the one we just played could have went either way. It was wrapped up at one point. We just a freshman made a serious mistake, and so they did a great job coming back and doing a good job. So, I give them all the credit in the world. That game could have easily went either way, and so, but we came up short.
Coach, your defense gave up over 200 yards to a back, and now you talked about Lacey, but talk about Roberts and just kind of the adjustments you tried to make against him, and how does that play in going to this week with another big back coming at you?
Well, I think we'll be fine. I think there were some things that we did in that game that I wouldn't do, in this coming up game, and from a structural standpoint of view. But I think we just have to see, go back to some of the base things that we do and try to, play some sound football, and hopefully that'll be enough.
Any final questions for head coach Kamaji? Coach, we appreciate the time as always. Good luck this weekend, and we will talk to you on next Monday.
Thank you.
Brings us to head coach Carl Morgan from Mississippi Valley State. Is Coach Morgan on the call?
Good morning.
Sorry about that. We were running a minute or two ahead of schedule. We were trying to get you on a little early, but we're glad you joined us. Right on time.
Yes, sir.
Talk a little bit about your game last Thursday at South Alabama. A tough loss for your guys down in Mobile. Then you've got Arkansas Pine Bluff coming to Itabena on Saturday. If you could, talk a little bit about what you see from the Golden Lions, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Okay. Went down to Mobile this past Thursday night to play South Alabama. We took a step back. We had played fairly good. We've been playing fairly good special teams throughout the latter part of the year, and that kind of reared up and bit us a little bit. The first punt return, they returned back to the 2-yard line. Then they scored. Then they scored on the opening second half kickoff. They returned it for a touchdown. I thought we moved the ball offensively with some consistency. Just got in the red zone and picked score. Dropped a couple passes. Dropped one pass, missed two passes that were wide open. I think that would have made a difference. And then defensively, they scored on 2 long drives. We didn't get them out on 3rd and 4th down. They went for it a couple times on 4th down and kept the drive alive. So I was disappointed. I thought we would have better results. It's been a closer game. Like I said, we didn't play as well on the special teams area, and that kind of hurt us. Pine Bluff, good football team. I think they've seen us several times this year on defense for sure, because they have played several people we played the previous week. So we've seen them. And it's a good football team. Solid football. I think they've lost games, but it's going to be a challenge.
Sorry about that, Coach.
All right. Sorry.
We'll open it up for questions for head coach Morgan from Mississippi Valley State.
Coach Morgan, hi, Team Morrell, Pine Bluff Commercial. How you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hey, where have you guys improved the most? Coach Coleman over at Pine Bluff just said, you guys are probably the most improved team in the conference. Where? I know you had the tough loss, this past Thursday, but where have you seen improvement the most?
I think up until Thursday, I thought we've made some strides on defense. I think we played a little bit better defensively. I think offensively, at times, we were more consistent than we were last year. I think we played a little bit on special teams. I think all three of those areas were a little bit better. We still have a ways to go. But I think the most positive thing is that, for the most part, the players have hung in there the whole year, and we've been fighting. We've been struggling and scratching and hanging in there for the most part.
Sure. And South Alabama, of course, they're a new football team, pretty much, but maybe I don't know, maybe a little bigger program or something. Was there anything that about South Alabama that might have been intimidating
I don't think we were intimidated. I think like the first drive of the game, we go 3 and out. We get the ball, we go 3 and out, and we punt. Supposedly supposed to be punting to the left, we punted it to the right. The coverage went to the left, and the kicker kicked it to the right, and they ran it back to the. So they scored, and then we came back and moved the ball. The next few times every time we had the ball, Thursday night we moved it, and we did do that against Texas Southern. So we moved the ball when we got to the red zone. We always messed up. Like I said, we missed an open guy twice. We hit a guy in the hand with a ball that was thrown too hard. He dropped it and snapped one over the quarterback's head in the red zone. We just had some problems. Like I said, if we could have matched the points, and it looked like we were going to match their points whenever they scored, but we would get down there and we'd stall out. And so I missed the field goal down there also. So that all, in the first half, kind of doomed us to what happened.
With only 2 games left, I mean, what kind of goals do you set for yourself, or well, not you in particular, but for the team at this point?
Well, this is the last game. Pine Bluff is the last game of Senior Day, and our goal is to win a second game of the year. We didn't win any last year. We won 1 so far. If we could win 2, and that would be 2 conference games, that would be a good thing for us right now in the present state we're in. And so that's the motivation. That's the goal. Let's get another conference game to win 2 conference games. I don't know when the last time that's been done here. But that would definitely give us some momentum going into the offseason, into recruiting, and into spring practice.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, on the defensive side of the ball for you, Armand Williams has really kind of taken charge in the last couple of weeks. He was, Conference Player of the Week last week, and led your team in tackles. Talk about his development.
He's done a good job for us. He's a senior. He's one of those, I think it's a 12 or 13 seniors that we're going to lose this year. And he has made some plays for us lately, and it's been a big plus.
You talked about the, missing the field goal late. Two big special teams plays in that game down in Mobile. You missed the field goal and the scoring opportunity right before halftime, and then did they not run back the opening kick of the second half?
Yeah, they did. And like I said, we had been doing fairly well with special teams the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I thought that was one of the areas we had improved upon this year. And then, to have the punt return that led to the first score, and then to have the kickoff return that got to the second score was disheartening. And hopefully we can bounce back and play better in that area this upcoming Saturday.
You talked about it being Senior Day in Itabena. You already got a homecoming victory. Not only to come away with 2 maybe victories on the season and 2 conference victories like you talked about, but if you win on Saturday, you play the role of spoiler a little bit for UAPB, but you also send your guys out on Senior Day and homecoming with victories. How big is that in the steps forward for your program?
Well, I think it's huge. I think that if we can get to the 2-win plateau this year, I think that would be a nice piece of improvement from last year. Like I said, I think we've been more competitive this year. I think the games have been closer as a whole. And if we can get 2 wins, I think that would be a good way to say, hey, we won 2 out of the last 3 games. We got some momentum heading into the off season. We can go out and sell, hey, we're getting better. We just need you to come on now. To all the recruits out there to come on and help us get over the hump. And I think it's going to help us going into the off season as far as off-season conditioning and spring practice.
Any final questions for Coach Morgan? Coach, we appreciate the time this morning as always. Good luck on Saturday, and we will talk to you next Monday.
That sounds good. Take care.
Thank you. That brings us to Prairie View A&M Coach Heisman Northern. Is Coach Northern on the call?
Hello.
Coach Northern.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine this morning.
Good. Talk a little bit about your game at Texas State. You hung in with an FCS opponent for a better part of the game, but a tough loss for the Panthers. And then talk a little bit about this week you head to Alcorn State for a big SWAC matchup, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, once again, we went down to San Marcos to play Texas State, a team that's FCS team right now. And I think Coach Fran told me they had a little bit over. They're not quite to 81 scholarships yet, but they have more than the FCS allotment. And we went down and then got down early, 14-0, missed a field goal. Jerry broke a long run, ended up fumbling, but we moved the ball, but it looked like we were going down that same path again, move the ball and then not be able to cash in, and eventually we got the ball moving some more and scored some points, eventually took the lead. Unfortunately, as soon as we took the lead, they ran a kickoff back for a touchdown. I think they added on a field goal after that, and we had a couple more chances to come back. It was about a 20 to 25 mile per hour wind that we were playing going into the fourth quarter, and like I say, some of our passes didn't have the same zip or whatever, but we moved about. I think we rushed for a little bit over 300 yards, but like I say, our passing game was not where we wanted to be, but I think our guys did a good job, number one, hanging in there once we got down and fighting, and just sticking with the game plan and thinking that we would win the ball game. I think at no time did we think that we were going to lose that ball game. Now, this week coming up, we have Alcorn State. We go over there for a 2 o'clock game against, in my opinion, obviously an improving ball club. I think they have two outstanding running backs, big offense line, and a defense that really gets after the football, and an outstanding punter that can flip the field position if need be.
We'll open it up for questions for Prairie View A&M head coach Heisman Northern.
Coach Northern, good morning. Charles Edmond from WPRL.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Coach, talk a little bit about the season that you've had so far. It's been kind of a yo-yo type situation. Looking back at your year against Alabama State, had over 100 plays, and then last week you rushed for over 300 yards. And just talk about the season that you've had so far.
Well, I think it's just one of those years where you can do a lot of things sometimes well, but just don't finish the task, and that's the thing that I and my coaching staff have been trying to get over to the guys. Just finish. Like I said, I think we were probably in the 50% on third down conversion, and usually when you're that good on third down, you usually win a lot of ball games. Usually when you rush for over 200 yards, you usually win the ball game. But like I say, unfortunately for us, it just hadn't been the case. So we just got to finish drives, whether it's by field goal or by touchdown. And like I say, we keep telling our guys, don't let the ants kill you and the mosquitoes kill you. Let's focus on the small things and not let the small things beat us.
Coach, when you look at Alcorn's defense, a defense that flies around, you being a defensive coach yourself, talk about what you see in the Braves defense.
I like to say I see my defense. Like I say, Coach mentioned earlier, I played for Coach Roach. He and I coached together, and I'm pretty sure if I look over there, I might be able to tell exactly what they're doing or what they should be doing. If I look at the film, when I do look at it a little bit longer, I can tell exactly who's messing up based off what I see the other guys doing on the defense. So, they're very aggressive, and we gotta, make some plays against their aggression, and we still have to be able to run the ball. They can put 8 or 9 in a box, but some kind of way we still have to be able to run the ball. I still think that when we have success running the ball, it opens up our passing game. But it's some big guys. You can tell they're a young defense as well. But it's going to be a outstanding defense. They keep those guys in school.
Talk about the development, Coach, of your quarterback, Lovelock.
Well, Jerry's coming along. Like I say, his numbers didn't look particularly outstanding last week. Had a few drops, a few throws that could have been a little bit better. But Jerry has that it factor. Like I said, Jerry can be the SGA president if he wanted to. He probably could go out there and start on our basketball team. If he went out there and tried out for the tennis team, I'm sure he could be successful in that. But he just has that it, And I have to tell him to be careful to make sure he uses his it the right way, and still focus on still learning the game of football, because this is his first time being out there with us. He didn't go through the spring with us or last fall, but he has that leadership quality that you need and love in a quarterback, and he just has that competitive nature. He can get the other guys to step their game up just because of, and like I say, who he is and how he carries himself.
Coach, I remember early in the season you talked about or you kind of predicted the way it was going, how wild the West is. It looks like it's happening that way. What do you feel about where your team stands in this wild Western Division?
Like I said, I may laugh a little bit, and I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but right now, we sort of the smartest kid in special ed right now. We'll take that, and we'll, like I say, I tell our guys, you control your own destiny, so make sure you take advantage of what you can control. Don't worry about anything else. And I tell them, I'm not interested in tie-breaking factors or head-to-head leads. All I'm interested in is winning, or even more important to me is hating losing. I try to get that over to my guys. So, we're not worried about tie-breaking factors. We're just worried about, winning one game in a row and doing what we have to do as a team to be better for Prairie View A&M University. Not worried about where we are in the standing. Let's just win for the sake of winning.
Hey, Coach Northern, how you doing? This is Ron from the Chronicle.
Yes, sir.
Coach, obviously you've had a chance to, take a look at the tape from Saturday's game and, kind of, get a better idea of maybe some things you guys did really well, some things you didn't do so well. But from an offensive standpoint, is there anything that the tape revealed to you that maybe you didn't see initially from Saturday's game?
Yeah, it still was I think some misreads by Jerry in both the running game and the passing game, and we have to get some of our receivers to understand when they're not the primary receiver, if they run their correct route the right way, that they're going to help somebody else get open. Don't run to open space, because a lot of times when receivers run to open space, they actually make it easier for the defense to cover another guy. So, we have to get them to focus still on the small things. And we still have to get a little, even though we rushed for 300 yards, a lot of times we played a little bit sideways up front. I want to get, back to knocking people backwards off the ball. So, but, it's just some small things, like I say, the ants and the mosquitoes that we have to get cleared up.
How much of that do you attribute to maybe the fact that, most of the offense had gotten a little bit used to Jonathan and DeAndre out there at quarterback after not having Jerry out there for a while?
To be honest, I don't think that has anything to do with it. If you ever, you've seen us practice, if you ever come watch us practice, all three guys get reps at the pace that we practice at, trying to run 4 plays a minute. All those guys get ample amount of reps. And, I don't think that has much to do with it. They don't change their cadences much between the three. And the good thing about it, like I say, they all get along well. So I don't think that has anything to do with, how we play. It's just the individual that's back there. I think the most important thing, once again, if we can run the ball, anybody can play quarterback back there.
Mm-hmm. So it's a small topic, but I figured I'd bring it up. Christopher Barrett, he made 2 out of 3 field goals against Texas State, and he had missed 5 straight?
Yeah, I think at one time it was, and he missed his first extra point. And you could see some of the guys and probably even some of the coaches get that look like, when are we going to let somebody else kick? But I pulled him over after I think he missed the extra point, and then we tried a field goal and he missed it. And as a coach, I'm gonna play the numbers. He's our guy, and that's what I kept telling everybody. And after he missed it, I just pulled him over to the sideline, and it wasn't a typical coach kicker talk. I talked to him, hey man, get ready, and I said a couple of bad words. Get ready to focus on making the next kick, and that's what you do. And he walked off, and I called him back to him, and I said, man, I'm not saying this as a coach. I'm telling you this as a man. Get ready to make the next kick, and he made the next couple of kicks. So, it's all about focus and confidence when you're a kicker, and they gonna go through that. And but like I said, I keep telling him he's our guy, and we gonna roll with him.
So what you got? You guys went down to San Marcos, looking to get some momentum. They're trying to work the kinks out. before you got to SWAC play. And for the most part, it looks like you guys, we found that competitive fire again after the big loss to Jackson State. So, how do you think that will, carry over to this game against Alcorn State?
I think you have to treat each one of them individually. I think as a coach, a lot of times when you get beat the way we got beat versus Jackson, it makes it easier for you to get your team back in focus, because now a lot of times they see they can't do things their way, and you can't let the small things beat you. So, like I say, we went down there to win. We didn't go down there to play close, and I told them, we take no solace in playing close. We wanted to win that ball game, and we thought there was a ball game that we could win. And I told those guys and our guys, all the pressure is on them. And we just went in there and played our ball game, and unfortunately we didn't score enough points to stop them from scoring enough points for Fairview to come out victorious.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Any final questions for Coach Northern from Fairview? Coach, as always, we appreciate the time this morning. Good luck on Saturday, and we will talk to you next Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That brings us to Southern University head coach Stump Mitchell. Is Coach Mitchell on the call?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Coach. A tough loss for you guys at Texas Southern. If you could, kind of recap that game down in Houston, and then a big one this week as you head to Alabama State. Talk a little bit about the Hornets, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Recap that game. Couple names, Rico Smalls. He was the difference in the ball game for us. I thought our kickers did a good job of pinning those guys back. He led his team on a couple of drives for more than 90 yards, 95 yards. So he did it both with his legs and also with his arms. He also passed for 365 yards. That was the big difference in the ball game for us. Defensively, they put more pressure on our quarterback than we had in the past, and he wasn't able to make some throws when we had guys open. And if guys are open, if the quarterbacks get enough time to protect, either by moving or the offensive line doing a great job, eventually they're going to find someone open. And Rico made some things happen outside of the pocket to allow those guys to win the ball game.
Talk a little bit about Alabama State and what you see from the Hornets or expect this weekend.
Well, they're tough. No question they can run the ball, but they also can pass the ball as well. It's going to be a tough deal for us. We'll be getting a couple guys back, hopefully, in LaMarcus Pettaway and Jamie Payton. That should help us on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, we have to be able to maintain some drives and put a few more points up on the scoreboard.
We'll open it up for questions for head coach Stump Mitchell from Southern.
Hey, Coach Mitchell, Larry Young from the Gannett News Service in Louisiana. Is J.P. Douglas your starter for the other two games this season?
Probably.
What was the reason for the change, that you went with him?
Just have to manage the game better. I mean, most of the games that we've lost, we've thrown an interception for a touchdown, which is 6 points. And we lost games by 5, 4, 3 points, in which we threw an interception for a touchdown. So that was my main deal, was to give JP a chance to start. Dre also last year played better coming off the bench than he did when he was a starter. And he was excited with his play in the Alcorn game. He came in the second half and he played extremely well. The reason he didn't get an opportunity to play this past game was because we only had the ball a total of 7 minutes in the second half. So there was never an opportunity for me to give him any playing time this past game. J.P. Douglas has played in every game except for the Jackson State game, and Dre has played in every game except for the game last weekend against Tennessee State.
Hey, Coach Mitchell.
Yes.
Orange Dillard at the Southern Digest. Could you just talk a little bit about your expectations for Alabama State this weekend?
Well, I expect us to go down there and play a real good ball game, and if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, have an opportunity to win. That's been the game. That's been the situation for most of the games during the SWAC competition. Alcorn didn't have a chance here because they committed some mistakes and didn't give themselves an opportunity. I think other than that, most games, Mississippi Valley, they've been in pretty much all of their games. Against us, they committed some mistakes and allowed us to win it by more than 14 points. But when you take a look at most of the games in the SWAC, it's the team that have fewer turnovers and fewer penalties and that allow yourselves an opportunity to win.
Every week, each coach that has your team on their schedule, they attribute your success as far as having your team rebound last year and just really putting up more of a fight and competing in the SWAC this year. Could you just talk a little bit about that this year and what you attribute to that?
Well, I think when you come in as a new coach, there's a reason why you're there. And it's not because the coach that was there before you didn't try his best to do a great job. But at some point in time, especially if you've been around for a long period of time, if you allow guys to get away with something, the younger guys that you bring in, now all of a sudden they think that's the way it's supposed to be. And if that's trickling down to every class, then you have a problem with them. And then guys that you bring in, they tend to have very little expectations for doing the right thing. And I think that may be the case with some of the new coaches at new programs, is how soon can you get guys to buy into the reason that you're there is because a change had to be made. Not necessarily in the head coach, but the change in the guys that are playing, because every coach in this conference are quality coaches that have quality staffs that's going to put together a heck of a game plan that's going to give their team an opportunity to win. And turnovers, penalties, a lack of discipline are going to dictate the outcome of the game for the most part if you don't have players that are capable of competing against some other teams. And sometimes players are better. And as a coaching staff, we try to find a way to make up for that lack of talent with the schemes that we put together offensively, defensively, and special team-wise to just give yourself a chance to last 4 minutes of a ball game.
And also, would you expand on the returning players, what they provide, and what the teams missed in their absence?
This past game, we lost LaQuentin Evans. I thought we had enough receivers to still be successful in the passing game, but we were beaten for the most part. I would say their defensive line beat our offensive line, and that's going to be a thing we have to contend with because Texas Southern defensive line, they're young, they're coming back. In the secondary, no question, we got victimized this past game. Some because of the absence of Lamarcus Pettaway and Levi Jackson, but some also because we didn't have Jamie Payton. We played a couple guys who had not played before, but and they probably lack, I would say, just the ability to think they can get it done more than anything else. But it was a pleasure to have Jonathan Wilson, a guy that had not played a whole lot, step in and play safety when Michael Bell got hurt, and he showed that he can play the game. But he shows that on special teams. So it was an opportunity for some guys to step in. I think that the main thing we lacked was some guys not having confidence in their ability to get it done. So that showed, and it gave those guys an opportunity that were not playing, that thought they should have been playing, a chance. And I think we found a couple players in Larry Johnson and also Jonathan Wilson.
Also, with excuse me for a second. Also, with Peyton returning, does Larry Johnson expect more playing when you all utilize him more?
Well, we're going to find a way. Larry Johnson will be on the football field. We will not have Franchard West this week, so a linebacker goes down. He goes down. He's in that third suspension group. So Larry Johnson will get an opportunity to play.
Thanks again, Coach.
Thank you.
Any final questions for head coach Stump Mitchell from Southern University? Coach, we appreciate the time as always, and good luck on Saturday. We will talk to you next Monday.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. That brings us to Texas Southern head coach Kevin Ramsey. Is Coach Ramsey on the call?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Big win for your Tigers this past weekend over Southern. If you could kind of summarize that game and then talk about heading to Grambling for your game this weekend, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, it was a weekend, this was our weekend of dedication to our seniors. We had 20 seniors, which we dedicated that deal to send them out the right way. Our last game in Del Mar, for our fans and the whole Texas Southern family, we'll be having our own stadium next year to finish up that. And, offensively, Rico really threw the ball well, really bounced back from a sour weekend the week before, and our receivers were catching the ball, really stretching out. Our offensive line was protecting and keeping themselves in front of people's bodies. And our backs, although we threw the ball as much as we threw it, I thought Marcus and Martin did a good job. And those two guys are seniors, and they finished out well, I thought. And likewise with Richard Samuels and Joe Anderson, those were our senior receivers out on the task.
Talk a little bit about your Grambling game coming up on Saturday.
Well, it's another road game for us. We feel like, like I said all year long, defensively when we tackle well and we change the line of scrimmage and we cause havoc, then we right where we need to be. With the offense going the way they're going, we just need to keep up the tempo that we got going. We covered the opportunity to go in Grambling and give our all.
We'll open it up for questions for head coach Ramsey from Texas Southern.
Coach Ramsey, how you doing? This is Ron Turner of the Eastern Chronicle.
Hey, Ron.
Coach, obviously, you guys have been real thin on the offensive line this year. And, this weekend you had to use two defensive linemen, to start on the offensive line, and you ended up having a season high in yards, and big passing day from Rico Small to me. So how pleasant was it to see those defensive linemen step up and make plays on the offensive line?
Well, look, first of all, we try to transform football players. And, that's what we look to have. And, you got a good football player, they'll be polished on either side of the ball. We move receivers to corner, we move quarterbacks to safeties, and likewise, to take those defensive linemen we had to go on that other side of the ball. The expectation was to go over there with some of the fire that we have on the defense side of the ball, and I thought they provided that. And our numbers, as long as we can get 11 out there at a time, we feel like that. That's what we got to represent and really believe in that. And those guys went in believing, and that was very pivotal for us. And of course, throughout this whole weekend, Ryan, we're here in the morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 6 a.m. And those guys really committed and caught on to what we was doing offensively pretty quick.
Coach, earlier this year, you kept telling people you made a point, obviously, that Rico's a young quarterback and that he had only made a few starts. Obviously that was his second start ever that he made earlier this year against Texas College, and now obviously he's practically played the whole season. And how much has he grown? From when you saw him earlier this year to where he is now.
Well, one thing I can say that the ascending arrow is still pointing upward with Rico. Offensive system was set in August. This wasn't a system that was set in spring ball This was a system that was set in August, and unlike us defensively, this is our third time around, so we was able to plug in new players at times on the field. As you know, we had 5 freshmen on the field defensively, but nevertheless, it was within what we do. And like I said before, I think the most dangerous part of all our whole outfit is the battery of our quarterback really buying into the system of what we do offensively. And like I said before, that arrow is really pointing upward.
Coach, even though you guys don't have the win-loss record you like to have, I mean, the defense has still continued to play extremely well. I mean, they're still number 1 in the FCS right now, and they have a chance to finish number 1. In back-to-back years, sort of for the defense. How big a boost would that be for those guys, especially the seniors going out? To have that ranking for back-to-back years, they can get it.
Well, on the defense side of the ball, we only have 2 seniors starting on this particular defense. And, like I said, all along with us defensively, our threshold has been changing line of scrimmage up front and tackling well. When we tackle well, we look like a sharp defense out there. And, that's always been our challenge, for us to get 11 guys around the football and for our kids to really buy into that. That always have been our winning edge. And above all, it's about tackling on defense, and that's the essence of defense, and that's what we teach here at Texas Southern.
Obviously, Coach, you guys spent the last 2 games on the road. You'll be facing 2 tough opponents in Grambling State, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. But by that same token, if you win these next 2 games, you guys will have a winning season, which will be the program's 3rd straight, and that would be something that the program hasn't seen in quite a while to have 3 straight winning seasons. I mean, how nice would it be for you guys to, salvage your season that way and, go into, end the season with a little bit more momentum going to your new stadium next year?
Well, I mean, as I look into the whole outfit here at Texas Southern, coaches included, managers, trainers, I mean, our program is built on winners, and when you surround yourself with winners, you'll come out a winner, and we just look to keep that before us.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Coach, your defense shut down a big back in Zequay against Southern, but you face another back that's on a roll a little bit in Dorrance Roberts from Grambling. Talk about what you see from Roberts.
Well, boy, with us it's about stopping the run, and we got to get a lot of hats around, throughout the season with the backs we've been facing. We want to get hats around everything. We want to get a hat on the hoof. We want to get a hat on the lion and on the ribs and everything. So we just got to continue to get a lot of hats around the ball carrier, be it receiver, quarterback, or running back. And we know that those guys they've been pretty balanced, making plays downfield with their passing game and running game. They've been pretty balanced. So we really got to swarm around the football, no doubt about that.
Hey, Coach, one last question. Obviously the 2 teams you're facing, you'll be facing the end of both in the race for the Western, still in the race for the Western Division title. Obviously, you guys, you're not going to race yourselves, but do you think that might, is that going to motivate the team in it? Even more just the fact that they can play smaller role, either Grambling State or Arkansas Pine Bluff or both.
Well, we look to play all out. We look to empty the cup and put everything that we got. It started yesterday with us coming in with a game plan and watching tape, and our kids they'll respond behind us as coaches, and we going into this game plan this week with everything we got, and I think as our kids see that from us, in which they've been saying, we haven't given up on this kid, we haven't thrown any of the towels or anything of that nature, and we still see a light down that tunnel. And like I said before, we still look to get ashore in spite of some shipwreck situation.
Coach, look at everything the program has gone over the last several months. Obviously, the abrupt coaching change, loss of scholarships, having to get the assistant coaches and everything else, and all the media attention around the program. How proud are you to see these guys still out there scrapping and fighting? At the end, with a chance to get a winning season after all that's gone on.
Well, I mean, we're in this coaching business for being, being tutors on and off the field. And I tell you, as a football coach, I've been a lot of places over the last 30 years, and this is complete. I really enjoy sitting, our coaches, from study hall to us walking around checking classes here on the yard. It's all been positive because, we look to have to each a degree and everyone education. That's our sale, and our kids are buying in, and I'm really proud of those guys staying focused to our mission, and that's to each a degree and everyone in education.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Any final questions for Coach Ramsey from Texas Southern? Coach, as always, we appreciate the time this morning. Good luck on Saturday. We will talk to you next Monday.
All right, appreciate you.